And you thought that Yummy was out of the meta. Now make sure you guys smash the link crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more on it. This got posted to my Discord. I don't have the original source for it, I'm sorry, but this is a beautiful graphic and I wanted to include it to talk about the top 32 breakdown for Richmond. So 7 branded Draco Tale variants within the top 32. You know, it's kind of crazy because when you're painting the picture, branded Draco Tale felt like it was just the best deck by about a mile across multiple platforms out of the weekend, and to see only 7 of them manage to make their way into this top cut was very interesting. Now, we also had 6 Malice decks. If you thought Malice was out of the competition, you are sadly mistaken right now. We also only had 5 Vanquish Soul canine variants, which is interesting. We also had 3 Lunalite variants. We had 2 Yummy Radiant Typhoon. And then the one-ofs here are pretty much what you kind of would expect from challengers. We had the Memento Radiant Typhoon, which that deck looked pretty scary when it got down to it. We had Branded and 1 Mitsurugi. So Mitsurugi's still here. It's just very much in the background, you know, hitting that deck and still kind of proving that it can do things. You know, you can splash it in a different package. It really just depends. We've also got Sulfacord Yummy. That deck is still kind of scary. We also had Canine for Hire. You're telling me Canine for Hire actually made top 32 out of this weekend? Yeah, it actually did. We had a White Forest variant. We had an Elf Note Fiendsmith, which I still want to see what that deck was packing. I'm a huge fan of Elf Notes, and I find that deck to be really cool. We also had a Pure Radiant Typhoon list, and we also had a Mitsurugi Fiendsmith list, kind of bringing up the rear. So, I mean, this format is just engine, plug in and go, and see what you can come up with. And, I mean, that's some pretty interesting diversity, honestly. Let's pass on over to deck list. All right, deck list time. So starting off here, we're going to be looking at Kamal's beautiful first place pile, and this list is so cool, man. The Tri-Brigade package really proved its worth for how you were able to kind of set up and just destroy the competition. Like, I think this was probably some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Surprises that we have seen within the meta, and it really just proved, you know, that this package could work together. Now, down here in the side deck, you also do know that we were citing additional Radiant Typhoon cards, you know, to kind of extend out the package and be able to make the deck feel a little bit stronger. We've also got the Tri-Brigade Oath as well, which we did see Tri-Brigade Oath doing some crazy things in the finals. Honestly, if there was a deck this weekend that was gonna, you know, take the meta by surprise, I'm glad that it was this one, because this was very thought out and very innovative, to say the least. Next up here, we have Mario's Vanquish Soul Challenger. Now, Vanquish Soul, I mean, you still only have 1 Holisu, you still only have 1 Joe Cool, but I mean, that's not stopping this deck from getting the chance coming to Spotlight. What is stopping this deck, though, is the fact that, you know, when you're looking at its design, if your opponent can keep your normal summon off of the field, this deck kind of crumbles to the ground. Obviously, you know, you have things like Izunas and friends that you can kind of extend through to actually help you out, which is kind of nice. I do see that this list is not playing the Umbral Horror. We're also playing the Zen Mayo to kind of crack open some of the back row. Zen Mayo has been an interesting talk. I can understand why you're choosing to play it. Just rank 5 to get through back row is something that, you know, this deck kind of has problems with. And fundamentally, if you can't actually get back row set up, it's good. Also, side decking all of these additional hand traps seems pretty decent. Now we go into top 4. This is going to be Steven Gleason's list. This list was quite interesting for Draco Tale, going with the 2 variations here of Fallen and the Virtuous. I've seen the fact that there were lists this weekend that were only trying to play 1 was a little bit crazy. Also, you know, now that Droll has been hit to 2, you got people that are shifting towards the Mistaken Arrest right now to try to quell the beast of searchability, which, I mean, it does work out. I've heard a lot of people very unhappy with Mistaken Arrest running around in the meta this weekend, and I don't really blame you, honestly. This card, now you have to deal with Droll 3, 4, and 5 within the format, and I get it. It's kind of disappointing that you have to deal with things like this, but I mean, that's just seems to be how the meta develops. All right, you got to deal with one problem card leading into another. So, congratulations on getting top 4 with the cookie cutter of the format. Next up here, we have Stephen Logan's interesting pile. First of all, kudos to bringing Memento all the way up to the top, because I don't really feel like anybody had the hindsight or the knowledge to make this possible. And still, somehow Memento is one of those decks that, you know, if players just are not expecting it or they just don't understand how it works. I mean, the Radiant Typhoon package here was a beautiful inclusion into this deck, giving this deck a lot more gas, and also, you know, getting access to all the spell cards in here as well. Also, Mystical Space Typhoon just being a good card to control those Draco Tale back row. It's really funny because, you know, with Draco Tale expanding into the format, being able to control the back row here with this was just a great control aspect. And oddly enough, it did work out. So really, really cool to see. We finally have Timothy's list, and this is what you get to see at one of our first early Malice lists running around in the format. Now, once again, hey, look at that. We have a Radiant Typhoon package down here in the side deck where you're able to kind of side on in and get some extra little free bodies set up on the field. Radiant Typhoon doesn't really care about how you get the free bodies on the field. Malice just wants to see at least a Cyverse monster 99% of the time, and you're basically able to kind of go from there. Also, you know, Cherubini actually does kind of get to act as a starter in this deck, which is freaking hilarious, by the way. If you really want to know why they're choosing to play that, it's because, ha ha ha, Cherubini mill down, yay. And then, you know, as long as you've got like a Bestial or something to feed off of what you just dropped down, congratulations, you're basically able to start set up and play. That's honestly why this deck looks like a decent challenger 99% of the time, and I actually kind of appreciate that. You never understand like how a meta is going to go till you start to explore. Next up is going to be Julian Kahn's list, and this is going to be your top 8 still. Once again, you kind of start to see this Exciton Knight starting to show up a lot more, and I think Exciton Knight was a freaking hilarious card to be seeing play in Draco Tale, because, I mean, honestly, you know, having the ability to combine 2 4s together and then automatically just equalize the opponent's field just off of an Exciton Knight is just, it's great and it's funny. And it was definitely a tech choice that Europe really, really, really used to their advantage. America was a little bit, I would say, more behind the times, but it was definitely there. Also going with the super polys to control the opponent, playing 1 copy of the new card to do the job. Going with the triple incredible Ecclesia too. I think this is one of the things that made their list stand out more than the others, was just going with the triple incredible Ecclesia. Oh, we have Giovanni Morales' interesting Malice pile. Once again, we get to see another Malice pile. You got 2 Malice decks creeping on into your top cut, which is such a wild thing to consider, you know, going with triple mistaken arrest yet again down here in the side deck. All of the Malcharmies underneath the sun in the side here as well. So, you know, you can bring these in if you actually need them to kind of equalize some of the weight of the meta, which does kind of work out, honestly. And once again, we do get to see that good old Dimensional Fissure being a call-up that you can actually use. If you do actually see this card, it usually ends up being pretty devastating to the opponent. I cannot imagine a lot of stop power that they're going to have the minute that, you know, you get this on the field, because this is just kind of an auto shutout card. Especially against Draco Tale branded, where, you know, they can't really start to do any of the value plays. Yeah. And our last list here was none other than David Mendoza's interesting Lunalite list. Going with the 1 Fractal, like usual. Going with the triple Dominus. Triple Tenki for the turbo speed. We are side decking the 2 heavy polys, which I guess is fine, right? As long as you have access to the heavy polys in some sort of fashion, it's fine. We've also got the Lunalite Fusion additional copy in the side deck. We also get to see the Denko Rekkas coming in. Denko Sekka was probably one of the dumbest cards that I could have seen over the weekend, man. You draw this, you automatically just kind of win against Draco Tale, unless they have like a 5 mana in hand to answer it. But even so, like, it's so rough. But that is our breakdown for Richmond. Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.